I'll let them know today because I'm talking to them today, because otherwise it'll be...
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How's your 4th of July weekend going so far?
So far, so good.
All right. Well, this morning I'd love you to join me for some funky affirmations. They're up there. You could probably turn it up just a little bit, Mark. There we go. I sing the stuff that's not in italics, and you sing the stuff that is. Here we go. I am. Oh, I was early. Now we're ready. I am very grateful for the life that I have. They'll right up there. I am fully nourished by the life that I have. I am very grateful for the love that I give. I am fully nourished by the love I receive. And this one's kind of tricky. I'm happy, healthy, and whole. You're happy, healthy, and whole. We're all happy, healthy, and whole. And all connected in spirit. God loves us just as we are. Adores us just as we are. We all are worthy and love rise up and cheer it. I am very grateful for the friends in my life. I am fully nourished by the friends in my life. I am very grateful for the journey I am on. I am fully nourished by the journey I am on. Here's the tricky part again. I'm happy, healthy, and whole. You're happy, healthy, and whole. We're all happy, healthy, and whole. And all connected in spirit. God loves us just as we are. Adores us just as we are. We all are worthy and love rise up and cheer it. I am very grateful for my whole life experience. I am fully nourished by my whole life experience. I am very grateful to be living in the spirit. I am fully nourished by living in the spirit. I am very grateful to be living in the spirit. I am fully nourished just now. Everybody together. That I am part of it all. Very good. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for coming this morning. It's good to see all your cheerful, happy faces. And some of us dressed for the occasion, right, Karen?
There we go.
Our guest musician today is David Duvall. Thank you. And our guest speaker today is Annie Lonardelli. I'm sorry. So we will be having some good music and a wonderful talk today, and I just want to welcome everybody. So we've got some more music, I think, to get started with.
No, it should be blessed always, but follow me. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Is there a spare red heart over there?
Yes.
Oh. I would like one for the pudding, please.
Thank you.
Is anybody here for the very first time today? All returnees? Welcome. Well, I hope you all have your red heart either with you or at a special place at home. I know I find mine a comfort when maybe I'm having a challenging day to pick that up and hold it and feel it in my hand and know that we are part of a fellowship that is sharing our heart wherever we go, one heart at a time, sharing love and making the world a better place. Okay. Announcements. Coming up on July the 9th, our guest speaker will be Reverend Donna Little. By the way, most of the announcements are in here, but I want to mention that. July 11th, Suzanne O'Clair is having her New Moon Circle. July 14th, the movie night will feature Star Wars 1, The Phantom Menace. They're doing the movies, I believe, in the order that they were released originally. Yes, Mark is saying yes. So that's kind of a fun thing, and it's a fundraiser for our church, and it's been successful. So hopefully you can join us for that. And coming up on August 20th, Unity of Bremerton, we're going to have our annual church picnic. So put that on your calendar. It will be a potluck event, and it's a fun event, so you can bring family, friends, children, grandchildren, things like that, and it's a lot of fun. It's something to participate with as a church family. And I just want to mention briefly, coming up in September, it's Unity World Day of Prayer, and that will be Thursday, September 14th. So keep that also in your mind. Last year we did kind of a mini commemoration of it here at the church, but it's also a kind of a virtual event, so you can use it both ways, both as a virtual event and as a physical event. Okay, and I want to mention who's in service today. I mentioned our musician is David Duvall, Annie Lonardelli, I'm sorry, I keep, Lonardelli. Okay. Our board member of the week is Kimberly, and she's also doing double duty as a board member. We have some chaplains present if you want to have supportive prayer. I'm available for that. Nora's available, Jamie's available, Candace is available. So, and Debbie too. So if you would like supportive prayer, there are chaplains available to meet with you. And let's see, our Youth Ed champion today is Joyce Cowdery, and Ann Miller is our hospitality host. I don't see any names next to the Spick and Span Angels, and so if you feel called to assist with cleanup after our fellowship time, I'm sure you would be welcomed with that. That would be a wonderful idea. And our minister's angel is Susan Henderson. She does a lot of behind-the-scenes work. And Mark Swink is our technology guru. Thank you, Mark. Okay. All right. And so now it's time, I believe, for Kimberly to do the board report. Are you ready, Kimberly?
Happy 4th of July weekend. Okay. Inside your bulletins, you're going to see your little yellow sheet for You'll see the updated guest speaker, guest musician feedback form. Fill it out and place it in the bag out in the fellowship area. We'll continue to provide these forms to let you, so you can let us know how you feel about future guest speakers and musicians. And if you want it to make any suggestions to us too, write it on that form too, and then we'll get it. It could be about anything, not just musicians and speakers. Technology envelopes you might see scattered around. Those are for those of you that want to make a separate contribution that goes directly towards that technology fund. These funds are being held separate, of course, from the Sunday contributions. Mark's putting together a list of the items needed, and it's estimated that those financial costs will run about $6,000. And currently, we have raised $937. Woo-hoo. So we're getting there. Our next movie night is Friday the 14th, which will be showing the Star Wars 1, The Phantom Menace, which was put out in 1999. Funds donated to this event will be used for the technology expenses that we need. So join us for pizza, popcorn, soda, friendship, fun, and we usually have a kids movie playing in the kids room, so the kids can be in there while the adults are watching Star Wars. The next Friday movie night after that will be July 28th. If you have any suggestions on movies, put them on those sheets in your bulletins too, because we'll be wrapping up the Star Wars series in August, and we'd love some suggestions on movies that everybody would like to see. Okay, the funds collected for Tony's Memorial Fund were sent to the Highline Music for Life, and we received a thank you letter from them, and they're going to use that money to help repair the instruments that are used for those students at the Highline School District, so we were glad to get that letter from them. Friday, June 23rd was the 24th annual Day of Caring event. Last year we had 7 people that participated, and this year there were 11, so thank you. The volunteers had a great time and they were very productive. They managed not only to complete their project that they signed up for, but were able to help the New Beginnings Closet and help them get gifts ready for Christmas to be stored for when the Christmas season hits. And they really had a good time. So the Seattle Peace Project is ongoing through September. We notified the organizer by email that Unity of Bremerton would like to participate, and we're going to participate along with the Unity of Seattle, Linwood, Kent, and South Sound. All we have to do is believe in what we're doing and encourage our congregants to join in. How much time each individual devotes to praying for this cause is entirely up to them. There's no obligations. There's a flyer on the bulletin board if you'd like to look at it, or you can look on hhresearch.org if you want more information on that. July 23rd, Gail Gray will be here to speak and is going to have a workshop afterwards. And the workshop is going to be raising our vibrations. So I think that sounds really, really awesome. We'll have more information about that when we get a little closer to that time. So, thank you, and the board will continue to update you weekly. So if you have any concerns or questions, just get a hold of one of the board members and let us know. Thank you.
Good job.
I smiled when she said Gail Gray's name because he's a friend of mine, and I've experienced his Raising Vibrations workshop. So just know it's a very pleasant experience. Gail uses a didgeridoo as part of his spiritual practice and part of his spiritual presentation. And so if you're at all curious about didgeridoo, please come to his workshop because it's a rather special experience. Okay. Time to light the Christ candle, and the Christ candle, of course, represents the Spirit of God, the love of God within each one of us that we share with the world. Let's say our group invocation and statement of faith together. It's on the screen.
There is one presence and one power, active in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent.
Okay, we're going to have our greeting time. We're going to keep it brief because we're going to have fellowship time following the service. But let's just take a moment to greet each other and say, good morning.
You guys already know each other. You guys already know each
This song, please join me. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. See it's getting late, please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred go, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see, wait and see. Now take a good look around, and if you're feeling down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. One last time. Put a little love in your heart.
So I was going to do it, but I'm glad you're here.
Or somebody does it.
I'm glad somebody is. Hey, Marilyn is off playing. Shame on her. Daily Word, spiritual support. I give and receive light and love. I am grateful for my spiritual support system, the people and practices that reinforce my spiritual understanding. Prayer is an integral part of that system. I take time each day to quiet my thoughts, speak prayerful words, or simply be. I am part of something greater than myself. Keeping this truth in my heart prepares me for any seeming challenge in life. Knowing God and I are one gives me strength. I build upon my support system by reaching out to people, forming friendships, joining prayer partners, and attending church services. In this day, I bolster my sense of belonging. I find inspiration to live my purpose. I also become part of the support system of others. I give and receive light and love. From Scripture, while you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become children of the light. From John 12:36.
Okay, we're actually going to sing In the Silence. Hopefully you know that. Follow me, please. In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there. Peace is there. Truth. Truth is there. And God is there. So when I saw what the talk was going to be today, I knew one song that would be absolutely perfect, and I didn't write it. And so I'm going to sing that in the offering, because I know that it's going to be perfect for what she's talking about. And the only song that I have created that I thought might be close is this one, which I have never performed before. So it's going to be on my next album. I had recorded the vocal about 3 days prior to getting the information about the message, and so my engineer and I mixed it yesterday so that I could have the tracks to sing it for you today. You'll have to let me know what you think. And aside from the engineer and my wife, you will be the first people to hear it. There you go. So go ahead. Annie says she thinks it's going to tie in very well, so I hope that's true. On a bright and shiny morning, with pure and cloudless skies, the world changed in an instant before unbelieving eyes. Buildings, lives came crumbling down, mass destruction all around. Only bits and pieces were left, scattered on the ground. Once the dust had settled and the time came to move on, as well as needing time to breathe and to mourn the lives now gone, cleanup was required, such a monumental task. How could they begin to conquer such a twisted mass? Piece by piece, moment to moment, one bit after all. Some days start out nice and shiny, with clear and cloudless skies, and then change in an instant to our unbelieving eyes. Daily lives are fragile indeed. Not a thing is guaranteed. We can think that we have got it all and then find ourselves in need. Dust has got to settle before we can move on. We need that time to pause, to breathe, to mourn whatever's gone. Cleanup is required. It's a monumental task. How else can we move ahead and leave our rubble in the past? Just piece by piece, and moment to moment, one bit at a time, gently clearing piles of pain and loss while healing heart and mind. Yes, the work is daunting. Yes, the load is great. Hands and hearts will come to help, friends who just won't wait. We can bring our shovel if it's sufficient. Overall, it's good to grab a shovel. Use what we can, 'cause it all adds up, you know, after all. Piece by piece, moment to moment, one bit at a time. It may look insufficient, but just one shovel, one little shovel can lead the way to bring some peace to heart and mind.
That was lovely, thank you. All right, so our guest speaker today is Reverend Annie Lonardelli. Welcome. Thank you, David. That's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
Piece by piece. So, I'd like to begin this morning with taking a little time for meditation together and getting grounded and centered. So if you wouldn't mind, just get comfortable and sit back and relax. Take a deep breath. 2 or 3 relaxing, deep and gentle breaths. As we quiet the mind and settle into the sanctuary of our hearts. And in this sacred time and space together, You can release whatever burdens you might have brought with you today, whatever concerns. You can release them here and rest. And breathe. I dedicate this day, this moment, this time to the sacred. Our attention turning away from worries and concerns, all the things that scatter and seem to deplete my energy. And I turn, easily towards the things that nurture and sustain my spirit. And breathe. Just as a rose turns towards the warmth of the sun and reveals its petals and fragrance and beauty to the world. I turn towards the light and feel the warmth of divine radiance permeating every cell, every aspect of my being. I stretch and open to receive the light of God, the love of God, the guidance of God. And as I receive what has been there for me, I recognize awareness, insight, inspiration is available to me in the smallest acts of kindness, the simplest things in my life. And I breathe into this liberating awareness. I am more and more the person that I am meant to be. In my own way, I am becoming a healing presence for the world. More at peace, more compassionate. And as I begin this day, I open to receive the sacred more and more aware of where the sacred already abides. And now, dear friends, just notice your breath gently and easily, each breath, bringing you deeper rest, renewing and restoring you in this precious moment and in this very precious life and in the silence. Everybody just follow the music into full wakefulness and be present with us here today. And so it is. Amen. So hello again.
Look.
Yeah, all right. You know, like many of you probably, when I was in my teen years, I was very much into church. Anybody like that here? Oh, all right. It was a perfect place for me at that time. Gave me a sense of community and belonging and purpose. And it helped me ground myself in culture and tradition, for which I'm very, very grateful and always will be. And I used to help out in the Sunday school, and I worked with the younger kids, and there was a little song we used to sing. I won't sing it for you. But the words went something like this. The Bible. Yes, that's the book for me. I stand alone on the Word of God. The Bible. Anybody remember that? Oh, yes, okay. We used to march around and sing that song, and we'd stomp our feet when we came to that stand-alone part. Oh, it was a good one. Had fun with it. And it also represented an understanding that I had at that time, and it was all so simple then. It was so simple and so beautiful, all those wonderful old Bible stories. You want it closer? Okay, sorry. Thank you for letting me know that. Is that better?
That's good.
Okay. So, those wonderful old Bible stories, you remember, right?
Yeah.
And they were the absolute truth. They were the truth, the absolute literal truth. And I loved the Bible, and I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to know more about the history and the teachings. And so when I grew into early adulthood, I threw myself into the studies of the Bible, Christianity, and other world religions, and my understanding changed. And I began to understand what we know now as the research and scholarship so clearly reveals that the Bible is not necessarily the literal recording of actual facts and events in just the way that they were told. So, I wanted to talk to my minister about that. That's how naive I was. The faith tradition I was involved in at that time didn't know how to be with all those questions and that information. They not only opposed it, they condemned it and anyone else who questioned it. And so you really had two choices. It was made very clear to me, you have two choices. You either embrace the stories literally, or else you're out of here. You're condemned. That's it. Those were the two choices that I had. I was told I was falling away, and so I fell away and moved out of the church. It was a spiritual crisis for me at the time. But I continued my studies and my research, and over time I came to the work of Joseph Campbell. How many of you people know who I'm talking about? Great. Joseph Campbell. He did a PBS series a few years ago called The Power of Myth with Bill Moyers. Remember that? That would be a wonderful thing to revisit. And it's a classic work, timeless. So Campbell was a professor of world religion and mythology, and he used to come through the area, the Puget Sound area. Was anybody here then? And went to any of his seminars and workshops? Oh, they were fabulous. That man was so brilliant. And he really helped me put together the puzzles and the mystery in such a beautiful way when he told us that these spiritual stories work on us and that their purpose and relevance in our lives is very deep and meaningful. He said they're like road maps. They're like road maps, but not the actual location. You know, a map of Bremerton is not Bremerton. Sometimes we do that, though, don't we? We point to the map and say, oh, there's Bremerton, right? But it's not. We know that it's not really Bremerton. It's a representation that just shows us the way to get there. Right? There's one thing, however, that Campbell said that really troubled me deeply, and it was this. He said, you have to make peace with your tradition. Ooh, really? He says you're born into a tradition and a tradition and culture is born in you. It's a part of us. That's another long story. Now, he didn't mean that you have to believe it or embrace it necessarily, but you have to make peace with it somehow. And I thought, oh boy, I'm really sunk now. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I never thought I could do that. I was so hurt by the send-off that I had received, and I had all this other information now. I didn't think I could make peace with it until I came to unity. Charles Fillmore said that these stories must be spiritually interpreted. And it was at unity that I came to understand that I could be with the stories and I could be with the tradition in a way that was deeply relevant for me. I could make peace with it and integrate it into a healthy spiritual perspective. I could have my love for the Bible and for Jesus too in an even deeper way. Amazing, revolutionary, illuminating, deeply meaningful. So, what I understand now is this, that whatever the tradition, Christian, Jewish, Islamic, Buddhist, Native American, the spiritual stories were never really intended to be taken literally because that limits and constrains them. I like to say that these stories are more than literal. More than literal. And if you wish to take the stories literally, please by all means do so. But don't limit the teachings just to a literal meaning. In the Jewish tradition, there's a practice called midrash. Midrash. It's the ongoing contemporary exploration for meaning and insight. There isn't any one specific meaning. The stories keep revealing themselves as we use them for contemplation and for practice. We unwrap these stories and all the meanings over time, over generations. So spiritual stories then are carriers for meaning, but they're not the meaning itself. They carry an understanding or an insight, just as a cup carries its contents. But sometimes we focus on the container, on the cup and the shape, and we miss what's inside the cup. The cup is simply a carrier. The story is simply a vehicle for meaning. It's what's inside it that really is what we're after. And we need the story, we need the structure to carry the meaning and to bring us the essence. All this attention on the literal form distracts us from experiencing the content. Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg says, it's like gazing at the sky through a straw, seeing only a very small part of it while we're convinced we're seeing the whole thing. So, what I hope for now is that we can get to a place of curiosity about these stories, about what's inside the cup, what's inside the story. To a place of curiosity. I wonder what's in there. I wonder what it tastes like. I wonder if it's sweet or bitter. I wonder if it's my cup of tea. There's a story I'd like to share with you from the Gospel of John, if you don't mind. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Oh, good. It's from the 20th and 21st chapter of John, if you're interested. You probably all heard this. The other side of the boat, that's that story. Who doesn't know that story? Oh, you don't know the story? Oh. Mm. I'll bet you'll remember it. It'll become more familiar to you as we go on. I first heard this story when I was a young girl in the church. I remember sitting in the church hearing this story and being so moved by it. I didn't even really understand what it meant, but I was very moved by this story. And it's a story that changes me over time. It's evolved with me and taken me with it. And the story takes place at a terrible time. A terrible time. The world just seems to be crumbling down. It was after the crucifixion of Jesus. And Simon, whose nickname was Peter, he had been a close follower, a close friend, a disciple of Jesus. And like many of the men in this story, he went into hiding. He went into the hiding. Now, Peter, Petros, the name Peter, means the rock. The rock. And it is said that he was called the rock because he was the one who was supposed to build the church, the foundation of the church. Many of you know that, right? Peter built the church of Rome, yes? So they said that he built of course he did, he was the rock. But Joseph Campbell said that he thought that Peter was nicknamed the rock because he was so dense. And so stuck in his ways. And there are a lot of stories about that, about Peter too. So, Simon Peter, it's after the crucifixion, and Simon Peter goes back home to his family near the sea. Now, I imagine what this must have been like for him. Oh, this was a dark time. This was a terrifying experience. And I imagine that he rushes into his little home, and he's a sight. He's a sight. Breathless and pale, his eyes red with tears, and the family is shocked to see him in this state. They ask him, Peter, what happened? What's going on? But he waves them away. He can't talk about it. He just can't talk about it. And I imagine that he goes down into a dark corner of the cottage and hunkers down there and pulls up his cloak around them. He is inconsolable. He is grief-stricken and deeply, deeply ashamed. Because only just the day before, he had denied ever even knowing Jesus at all. Peter is in that dazed and confused state that accompanies grief. The turmoil of those last few days and all the events surrounding Jesus' death, the rumors have left him so confused, and his mind a tangled net of fears and regrets and sadness, and he's spiraling down into a dark night of the soul. And the darkness goes on a few days. And I don't know exactly how this happened. Maybe his wife said, Peter, it's time. Why don't you go out and take your boat fishing? It does you good, all that fresh air. It'll be good for you. So Peter waited until darkness fell, and under the protection of the night sky, when no one could see him, and stopped him and asked him where he'd been and what was going on, he left home and walked down to the boat. And he found his brother, Andrew, on board, asleep. He was hiding out too, and there were some others there as well in the boat. He woke them up. And then the men moved wordlessly into their familiar routine of getting the boat ready to shove off. The shipboards creaked as they moved, creating that eerie sound sometimes you hear across the water. You know what I mean? That eerie sound of echoing across the water, rippling across the water. They pulled up their anchor and drifted off just deep enough to drop their nets. The ship's hull groaning slightly in the current, the sounds of the water lapping up against the sides of the boat. If there was any place on earth that Peter felt more at home, it was right here. If there was any peace to be found. But not for Peter. The stars were so bright and crisp, so quiet, so very quiet. From the village, only an occasional animal sound, dog barking every now and then in the distance, night bird calling, all peaceful, except for Peter. Another sleepless night. And to say that Peter brooded hardly captures the depth of his anguish. He played the scenes over and over in his mind, because that's just what our minds do, recalling the fears and the humiliation at both being identified as a friend and then the shame of his betrayal. And all night long they fished. And all night long they caught what? What did they catch? Nothing. Exactly. They caught nothing. Then the night passed and dawn breaks. Friends, you ever read a story and it says, and then dawn breaks? Ooh, something's about to happen here. A shift is about to occur. Illumination is in the works. And in the filtered light of dawn, a scatter of people start to form on shore. Some are fishermen getting ready to take their boats out or make repairs in the nets and sails. And a figure appears on shore, and a voice calls out, "Have you caught anything yet?" Peter thought nothing of it. These fishermen are always eager to know what the catch of the day is. Certainly he's been asked that question a lot of times. But even that question taxed him to the maximum. He's at this point of despair. But he knew if he didn't answer, they'd just keep asking. So he reached down deep within himself and called back, "No, not a thing." The figure on shore, it didn't move. Instead, it just stood there a while. And then, quite simply and clearly, called out, "Cast your nets on the other side of the boat." Whoa. Something familiar about that voice. Without hesitation, he moved swiftly, and his men moved with him, pulling the nets out of the water and lowering them on the other side of the boat. And right away, the nets were teeming with fish. The men pulled the nets in, hauling in this huge catch of fish, fish jumping all over the boat, slapping the men in their legs, shimmering in the morning sunlight. Heaps of fish. And the men looked at each other and said, "What? What is this?" Incredulous laughter began to echo out across the water. Their laughter improbable, radical, in contrast to the brooding of just minutes before. And Peter looked out at the man on shore and recognized the truth of it right away. It is the Master. This is a pivotal moment in the story too, because that moment of recognition is an awakening. As morning came and the light illuminated the darkness, Peter realized that what he had been grieving was not lost, was not missing, was not lost to him, and he jumped into the water, swimming to shore to meet Jesus. It's a joyous reunion. What happened? Just what was the guidance that Peter had been instructed to follow? Peter had not been told, hey, take your boat out a little further. If you go out another 100 yards or so, there'll be some fish over there. No, that's not what he was told. He wasn't told to get new technology and use a new technique, some better nets. No. He'd been told to make a shift, to enlarge his perspective, to turn just slightly in a different direction to the other side of the boat. That's all. Direct your attention away from what is missing to the all that is, just waiting for us to see it. And when he did, Peter experienced a breakthrough in consciousness, a breakthrough in awareness, allowing him to see beyond the limitations of these old ways of seeing into more awareness that what he had been looking for was there all the time. You know, in times of challenge and crisis, we tend to forget our connection to this very basic truth. I get it, I understand, I've been there. It's the nature of loss and grief to focus on what is missing. That's what it does. But all spiritual transformation starts when we shift our point of view and awaken from our trance of separation, our habitual fears, and ask, what is already here that for me that I do not see? What is already here for me that I do not see? Right. It is the call of awareness, emerging from our confusion and darkness, because, dear friends, you know this is the absolute truth. What is real is always with you. Let me say that again. What is real is always with you. What is real is always with you. As Unity poet James Dillard Freeman said, I am here. You may not see me, but I am here. There's another part of the story. I'm not done with you yet. I know she go home. All right. Okay. Peter swims to the shore. He's reignited with the Christ. We can only imagine it's all imagining anyhow, but we can only imagine the strength and power of that encounter. But then something happens that I never would have expected. It's amazing what happens next. You see, what happens next is that Jesus had made breakfast for them. What? Just like a good Jewish mother. Jesus had made breakfast. Oh, I don't know about you, but that just... The point of it is that all of this wonderful, transcendent spiritual awakening needs to be grounded and practical, needs to be life-affirming and life-serving. We are awake now, my friends. Yes? Yes? We are awake now, and there's work to do. And as the visit is winding down, Jesus turns to Simon Peter, and this is what he says. He says, Simon, do you love me? Oh, man. Imagine that. Imagine that the Christ, that the divine, that the sacred turns to you and says, "Do you love me?" "Well, of course," Simon replies. "You know I love you." Then Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Oh. Okay. Well, if that wasn't enough, Jesus asks him again, Simon, do you really, really, really love me?" And Simon Peter says, "Well, yeah, you know I love you." Now, Peter, he's so pestered by this habitual ego, he begins to feel a little annoyed that Jesus is asking him again. Can you believe this? Just minutes ago, he's grieving the loss of Jesus. He's back, and now he's annoyed. He is so human. He is so us. And Jesus says, "Okay, then take care of my sheep." And then, one more time, the Christ asks, "Simon, do you love me?" Now, of course, he knows what the answer is going to be. But the point is, the question is directed at us, and we're the ones that need to answer it. This is the question that really pierces through all of our nonsense, all of our egoic contentment when we think that we have it all together and we've found the truth and we can just lean back now and float on all this beautiful awareness. And instead we are confronted and challenged and in your face about all that this spiritual life really means. Peter says, "Yes, you know I love you." And Jesus says, "Then feed my sheep." Oh, man. Now, for anybody who still wants to take all this literally, do you really think that Jesus had left a flock of sheep somewhere out there? No. The sheep are a reference to those most vulnerable and those most in need. Because they are the most vulnerable of creatures. They can't run very fast. They're not aggressive by nature, and they have no defenses over predators. So what we're being instructed and what we're being told is if you truly love this work, if you truly love this movement, if you truly love the sacred, then we will take care in an authentic and real way and make that love visible in the world. What is the last unity principle?
Action.
Who said that?
Action.
Action. Action. It's not enough. It's not enough just to sit here and know it, is it? It's sweet. We need to do this and come together. And we need to come together and learn how to serve. Our work is to take care of the most vulnerable and those in need. And when I hear, what I hear in this encounter is Simon, Annie, when you spend time thinking about yourself and what you've lost, the more suffering you're going to experience. But when we think of alienating the suffering of others, then our own is reduced. In the darkness of loss and confusion, we find that love spins gold from our grief. And this is what it looks like. First, ask, What is already here for me that I do not see? And turn to the other side of the boat. And 2, know that what is real is always with you. Always with you. And then 3, serve. Every time we serve, we resonate at the energy of divine love. And this is one way that we experience God with us. Every day, see how much love you can manifest. You know I hear it. I'm too busy. I don't have enough to give. I'm too tired. I'm burned out. I feel your pain. But can you pray? Seriously, can you pray? Can you offer the loving kindness blessing to others? Can you do small acts of kindness, like picking someone up for church, or making a call, or picking up litter? Can you serve your church? Can you put your hands in your pockets and tithe to this community to see this community really grow and be the force for good that it can be and will be for the world? Can you do that? That's how we make it real in the world. Little things. Little things. Not huge. Drop by drop. Fill the bucket of care. One shovelful at a time. One heart at a time. To make the world a better place, as Debbie said when we started. One heart at a time. To make the world a better place. This love, my friends, is not just to be felt. Not just a sentimental children's song, but it is a committed work and a great inconvenience. But it is how we make that love alive. It is how the love of God is made known in the world. One heart at a time. Namaste.
Namaste.
I encourage you to listen to this next song, the words to it, not necessarily literally, but in a much more global thing than you might have ever heard it before. Nope, track 2.
That sounds good.
Take a look around, change the direction, adjust the tuning, try a new translation. Don't look at your love in the same old way. Take a new picture. Just because you don't see shooting stars doesn't mean it isn't perfect. Can't you see it's the stuff that dreams are made of? It's the slow and steady fire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's your heart and soul's desire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. So what's this about your best friend? She's got a brand new shiny boy, and they're headed out to Malibu to play with all his pretty toys. And you feel closed in by the same four walls, the same old conversation, with the same old guy you've known for years. Use your imagination and you will see it's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the slow and steady fire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's your heart and soul's desire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. What if the prince on that horse in your fairy tale is right here in disguise? What if the stars you've been reaching so high for are shining in her eyes? Oh yeah, yeah. You see how it relates to almost everything? Don't look at yourself in the same old way. Take another picture. Shoot the stars off in your own backyard. Don't look any further, 'cause you will see it's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the sails against the sky. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the reason we are alive. If you don't, please sing with me. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the slow and steady fire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the heart and soul's desire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the sails and soul's desire. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. It's the walls against the sky. Thank you very much. Have a good holiday weekend.
Okay, in a moment here, we're going to have our offertory. So as you prepare your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are, and as you're writing your check or giving your gift, send your blessings out. And we'll have candles available if you would like to light one in memory of somebody you're thinking of or for yourself. And if you'd like to release something into the flame, we'll have that available for you over here as well.
I'm sorry I have to leave you. I have to be on the 12:45 sailing from Port Angeles to Victoria. So I have to race to Port Angeles now.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. Happy 4th of July.
Safe.
Okay, let's see. Yes, could we have the board member and, Jamie, can you represent for the chaplains, please? Sure. And we're going to say together our blessing, and as a congregation, we're going to bless this offering together. Together, we
Dedicate these gifts in service to the highest mission, recognizing and celebrating our oneness with God. We joyfully and freely participate in the law of circulation, of giving and receiving, knowing God is source, the source of all good, and we are grateful.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Let's see, we have our outreach to the homeless, our Food for Life program, lunches for the homeless. Would anybody like to take the bag with them and fill it up? Thank you, Kat. And is there any good news to share this week? Yes?
Yeah. It was kind of good news, bad news. This weekend, I did a garage sale with some people, so I started hauling stuff out. And there was this incredible hide-a-bed that I thought, oh, that'll be perfect in my extra room. So I got home and I measured, and there's no way I could get through the door. So, if anyone would like a really incredible hide-a-bed that could be picked up, I mean, for pretty much next to nothing. It's really nice, and it's not that large. There's also a black leather couch, and you can get them for practically nothing, but they have to get picked up real quick or talk to them if they could deliver it. So I just wanted to let you know on that because it really is a good deal.
Okay, yes, Cindy?
Just one thing I wanted to mention, our speaker next Sunday is Reverend Donna Little, and she recommends that you try to wear something gold that will tie into her talk. So I wanted to share that.
Gold. Wear gold.
Gold teeth. Always.
I have gold teeth.
Maybe I got some of
Yes,
those.
Kat?
Well,
I just wanted to bring a need, I know it's not, our Tracy is in need of a recliner. She's gotten out of the hospital.
I think she got one. She got a recliner, right?
Oh, the good news.
She did, yep. And she's home and she's resting, yes.
Excellent, excellent. So when you talk to her, tell her that we'll expect her to be dancing into here soon.
Right.
Okay. All right, do we have
You're standing up.
children from the Sunday school?
We do.
All right, let's sing our song together.
You are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. You are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, in the light, in the light, in the light. in the light, in the light, in the light of God.
All right, what did you talk about
Did you wanna
and do
talk today?
today?
Can you at least hold your picture up? He had to make sure it was finished because if it wasn't finished, he wasn't going to show it. So his picture, it says, "I wish everything was clean as new every single day." We talked about peace, and we read from the A Million Visions of Peace, which is a great little book written by kids from all over the country. Who went around the country? The Peace Turtle Bug. A Volkswagen Bug looks like an old piece. Cute. And then this was a peace pole that my son made at one of the Unity camps, but Jay and I added. I added hearts, and what did you add?
I added pixels.
Pixels. And for those of you that don't know what pixels are, which it's part of Minecraft, but it brings peace to you, right, Jay? What brings him peace? Minecraft. So we did pixels, and he added pixels onto here. And then he also added faces on pixels, so he made several if anyone needs a pixelated face. He has a bunch of them here. And then what brings me peace is unity, church. So I took the bulletin from today and the songs that all were peaceful.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yay.
Wonderful, wonderful. And there's some happy little pixel faces.
Pixel peace faces.
Wonderful. So let's give our blessing here to Joyce and to Jay.
We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's stand up and join hands and sing our peace song, which we're going to do a cappella today. Everybody be brave. And then we'll do the prayer of protection, okay?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over